Hello guys, and welcome to another video of Technpix, and today we are doing another portrait video, and the model you see in the picture here is the very beautiful Felicia Lucien in Vienna, and I was able to photograph her at a workshop only for portraits, because even though I know the very basics, it's always good to learn as much as possible. Now that it was offered for free from a local group of photographers which was created, that we do photo walks and we go walk around, take pictures. It was done in the studio of the photographer Cliff Capates, and of course I'm for sure I'm mispronouncing his last name for sure, and I apologize, but I will put a link below to his website and also to the modeling page of the beautiful Lucien. Now guys, before we get into it, do not forget to visit my website, Technpix.com. It is a one-stop shop. It is your one-stop shop for everything photography and technology related. Now, let us jump right into the picture. First thing I want to do is I want to click on black and white right there, and it'll just transform everything into black and white. Now, you might be saying to yourself, that actually looks good just like that. But no, I am never content, and I actually want to change the way it looks like even more. So what we're going to do is it's now black and white, and everything you do here affects the black and white tones that are on the bottom, and we will just go ahead and work with that. Now, I want to bring up the exposure just a little bit. Black and white pictures, I like black and white pictures that are really contrasty, really like very thick, intense, contrasty, and just bring up the contrast. You see that has made a dramatic improvement. It looks beautiful. Looks fantastic. We can just go and modify. You see a little bit the flash bumping off her shoulder here. By lowering the highlights, it just lowers the intensity of the flash bouncing off of her skin. The shadows, maybe we can leave the shadows, just bring the shadows up a little bit more. The whites. Now the whites we want to bring up. Now it's a little difficult because when you bring the whites up, it'll still try to push those shadows that were on just the light bouncing off of her face. We're going to try and just bring that down to a minimum, so we probably won't overdo it that much. Now we get to my favorite slider. That is the clarity slider. This will make the picture much more dramatic, and it'll actually make it look amazing. And I know what you're thinking, Carl. You're bringing up the clarity all the way to maximum. That is true. But there is a difference between raising up the clarity in portraits and not doing it for, I don't know, other pictures. And what is that? I raise up the clarity because, as you can see, it has brought out all the little tiny small artifacts on her skin, like the little bumps there, and obviously there's some speck on the lens. We'll get rid of that. The little bumps here and the bumps on her shoulder here. We will work with that, and we can easily get rid of that. That is not a problem. We can get rid of that, and we can actually bring the sharpness of the picture down so it makes everything softer, but the clarity brings out the intensity of just the shadows of the lines. It's as if it's like an HDR, so it's a high dynamic range where you can see more levels. It brings out more depth, more details, and that is why I choose to bring it up to 100 to really bring out the details in every single strand of hair, to bring out just everything that the lens is capable of capturing, everything. And so we can just go ahead and modify a little bit more of the highlights here on the tone curve, and this actually we can lower this a little bit, and we'll come back and we'll make the picture a little bit brighter. So we can lower the darkness just a little bit with shadow. We can bring up the shadows a little bit like that. So let's come back up to the exposure, make that brighter. That looks fantastic. That looks amazing. Now, I also love pictures that are in color, but I took this picture with the Sigma 30mm 1.4 lens, and while it's a fantastic and ultra sharp lens, I'm not always too satisfied with the colors it produces. So we're just going to keep this in black and white. And actually, I'm going to do another video with this same model, different pose, And we're just going to work on that in color and see how it comes out. So still modifying here. Now, when you're working in black and white, you probably think to yourself that the red, orange, yellow, and green, that all the colors here don't work. They have no effect on the picture. That's where you're wrong. Because even though this picture is in black and white, it still has levels. It still has those, so each line here, each shade of gray is a level, is referred to a color level here. And as you can see, if I just click all the way down, look at that. The lips just became black because in reality, those lips are red. So it connects to that, and you can actually modify the colors even in black and white. Now what I want to do is I want to bring out just a little bit more darkness to the lips, just so it separates it a little bit, so it really is separating, so you know that you can obviously tell that there was lipstick here. Let's see how that looks up close. That looks good. Maybe bring it up just a dab. That looks good. And let's just move each level until we see what happens. If it doesn't look good, you can just double click on the actual name here, so on the orange, on the yellow, and it just brings it back down to 0 to the way it was before, and that's fine. And don't even have to worry about it. Here it looks like she's going from a blonde to a darker hair. This was on minus 17, 16. The green does a little, it just a little bit of highlight in the hair. And actually, no, I'm looking at, I want to bring up the lips just a little bit more. Good. That looks great. Now, I am down to the sharpening, and the picture, as I said before, the picture is really, really sharp. But if you bring up the noise reduction to about a 44%, you see that now everything starts to smooth out. It is smooth out. If I bring it down to 0 as it was before, everything just sharpens in, and you now see all the little tiny details and everything like that. But if you just bring it up to about 50, it smooths everything out. It's not too harsh, and that is the most important thing. We don't want harsh. But what I actually want to do now is I want to fix a little bit of these spots. So, and just modify like that. Now I want to fix the little tiny areas here. So you go to the spot removal and then you click on heal, just like that. And you want to just say, okay, what spots do I want to remove here? I want to remove, and the smaller you make it, the better the end result will be. And just let the computer do its work, and it calculates and it gets rid of the spot automatically. Make this a little bit bigger to cover this spot to get rid of it. And this is just very basic spot removal, just so that the picture in the end looks just nice and clean, and the skin is nice and has no imperfections, and then you really remove as much as possible. Just tiny little spots. And that actually looks good. Little tiny spot right there. It's too small. I can't really get on there correctly. Let's clean that up. And if you back out, that actually looks good. The forehead has been cleaned up. Now let us work a little bit on the rest of the face here. I'm just going to fast forward because it's probably not necessary to see everything. Good. I have removed all of that, all of the spots that were here, and as you can see, there's a lot of little circles here. There's also some circles in the background here, which was from the lens. The sensor had probably some specks of dust on it. That is not a problem. You can easily clean that up. I get rid of all the tiny little spots, maybe all the tiny little imperfections in this little tiny like bird spots or something like that, just to give the picture a nice, clear. Of course, you're free to do as you want. You can even leave them there. It's not always necessary to have to to clean them. it's just a personal choice, honestly. I mean, a lot of people agree that you should remove them. A lot of people will agree that you should not remove them. But in my case, I just went ahead and removed them. And what I did is I brought down the sharpening a little bit just to even make the skin even smoother, and now I have, well, there's not really any chromatic, there's not really chromatic aberration, black and white, that's really not the case. I want to bring down the vignette just a little, the level of the vignette a little bit, just to make a little bit of a frame around her. Actually, you know what? I haven't cropped this picture. So what I want to do now is I want to actually crop the picture a little bit just to come in a little bit tighter. Just align up the head right there, rule of thirds, that looks good. I want to put a little bit of a vignette around it so it just, it brings the tension more to the face, which is where you should be looking. Maybe I want to bump up the exposure just one more notch. That looks fantastic. And now we are down to the camera calibration. So the color, this is like a sort of a color profile for the lens or whatever. And and this actually does make a difference in black and white, and you will see that right now. If you have to play with it, because if you in any which direction you go, it can change the look of the picture dramatically, like really drastically. So just you have to eyeball it, and just whatever you look at, whatever you say, you know what, that looks great, that looks not so great. You can always go back to 0 by double clicking on where it says hue or saturation. It'll bring it back down to 0, and just work on it. Just go up and down until you see that your picture starts taking a different shape, like something, something that that looks better to you. That will change some of the shadows on her face. That looks really pleasant. This actually makes it a lot darker, and that makes it a lot lighter. The thing is a lot lighter, just like that, by making the face a lot lighter, it really cleans up the skin. You don't see any details. You don't see any like imperfection. You see very, very tiny little specks and something like that, and the picture looks really nice like this. You know what? But even when you bring it down like that and you make it more dark, which is actually my personal preference, as you can see here, you can now see these like tiny little smidgens, tiny little bumps here. You can now see them. They're really present. And the bumps that are a little bit here, but when you bring it up to here, it's almost gone. You don't see it. You know what? I'm actually going to leave it like that. I am going to leave it bright like that. I like this look also. I would have gone for the more darker, but I like this one also. Maybe now that I've raised this up a little bit, I probably want to bring down slightly the shadows. So I've brought down the shadows just a little bit, and that looks fantastic. I am really happy with the way that picture came out. That looks great. It takes a lot of modification. Black and white pictures in general are much easier to work with, but to make it actually come out and look like something that is pleasing to me as a photographer, or you also as a photographer, that's something entirely different. So guys, I'm going to upload this full quality picture on my Flickr account, and thanks once again to the beautiful Lucienne, who was the model for today, and to Cliff, who let us use his fantastic studio with the amazing lighting that he had there, and let us experiment with taking pictures. Guys, this is Carl for Technpix. Oh, do not forget to visit my website, technpix.com. It is your one-stop shop for everything photography related. If you like this video, subscribe, leave a thumbs up, like this video, share this video if you know someone who's struggling with, doing a portrait, modifying portrait photography or pictures or whatever. And guys, I will see you in the next video. Go out and start snapping. I want to see your pictures. I would love to see your pictures. Just leave me a link in a link in the comments below to your Instagram, to your Flickr account. I would love to see your pictures. I would love to see if you've learned anything from this video. Maybe you take away just a few tiny things. Maybe you take away more. Guys, I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.